and happy Wednesday. My name is Anna Morris. I am one of the two hosts here on the Breaking News podcast. This week, Kylie and I are bringing you a story from 2021. A woman by the name of Gabby Petito was found dead, and more shockingly, the first suspect and the primary suspect for the case was her boyfriend and newly engaged fiancé. Listen along to hear the story in the case of Gabby Petito's murder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Breaking News podcast. I know it's been a hot minute since we recorded, but we are so excited to be back, and we are going to take this episode to discuss the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case. And we'll be talking about a bunch of details about this case that's happened. We have a bunch of documents pulled up with me and Anna on our ends, and basically a little deep dive into the case. Gabby Petito was reporting missing September 11, 2021, which is 20 years since 9/11, and as many of you know, and that's kind of the first thing that came to mind when I saw that was 9/11, 20 years, like what a coincidence. But in July of 2021, Petito and Laundrie leave New York for what was supposed to be 4 months cross-country trip visiting and camping in national parks. They plan to sleep in their van and document their travels on Instagram and YouTube, and they are content creators at the time. A lot of people knew who they were, but they weren't as popular as maybe a lot of people, like a lot of content creators knew them as. And basically, a couple months later, Gabby was reported missing, and then that whole search process began. And Brian went missing, and it started becoming a ruckus, as a lot of people call it. But Anna, do you have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, great intro, Kylie. It's very interesting. I like how you brought up that it was kind of the anniversary of 9/11 when she was reported missing. That's a huge event in American history, and not one that we are going to forget anytime soon. But it's very interesting, the details around her disappearance, Gabby's disappearance. And one thing we talked about even before starting to record this episode was that Gabby and Brian were pulled over on August 12th of 2021 for a disorderly conduct stop. So essentially what happened was Brian was driving their van, Gabby was passenger, and we do have recordings that we're going to kind of plug into the episode for you to personally listen to the interaction between the police officer and the two of them. But essentially what happened was they were both kind of upset. Gabby, actually, in the recordings, you can hear she's crying. They were just having, at this point, they were newly engaged, and they were having some relationship disputes and just arguments. And it had Gabby just kind of distraught in the moment. And one of the reasons why the police officer pulled them over was because Brian was kind of just a little bit like recklessly driving. The police officer reported that Brian had like kind of like hit the curb and kind of gone over it a little bit. And so he was like, something's wrong. They're not staying in the lane. I'm just going to check on them and see what's happening. And so that happens, and he checks on them. Essentially, it dwindles out. It ends with both of them. Gabby takes the van and takes a night by herself. Brian finds a hotel. He stays there for the night just to kind of, what the police officers called it, a mental health break from each other. And that's very interesting because it was just a few months before Gabby was reported missing by her parents and disappears. But Kylie, if you want to continue to go into detail about kind of the disappearance of Gabby, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so basically the conduct stop was August 12th of 2021, so about a month before she was reported missing. And it was basically a 911 call was placed by someone who reports seeing a confirmation between Gabby and Brian. Like you said, the caller said that he saw Laundrie hit Petito, which was, maybe not confirmed, but police in both Utah are dispatched and pull the van over. It is unclear if they know the details of the 911 call. Police body cam video shows Petito crying and upset, and the report says that Petito hit Laundrie, but no arrest were made. The couple is separated for the night. Laundrie checks into the hotel, and Petito stays in the van, like you said. And I feel like that was really the start of it that no one knew, because of course, if the hit was, true, we don't know if it's actually official, if he actually hit her, no one knows.
Right.
But if that happened, then that was really kind of the start of, what would have been a big case happening. And everyone's attached to this case when it happened back in 2021. But it really was kind of, I felt, was the start of that. And on August 19th of 2021, Petito and Laundrie posts a video on YouTube called Van Life, beginning our life journey. The images show them laughing and kissing. And once they posted a YouTube video, I'm like, okay, is that staged? Like, is that fake? Like I just feel like maybe it was staged, just pretending nothing happened. Like, it kind of having mixed feelings with that one, like saying like they're faking it. Maybe they were faking it, maybe they weren't, we don't know. Maybe they're happy in that moment, we don't know. I know a lot of people like to put on fake faces when in those situations, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think that from the police recordings, it was confirmed that she did hit him. The big controversy about that was that the police officer said, well, there's two options you can choose. You can choose to press charges against Petito because she hit you, because y'all kind of had this like altercation. It wasn't in the sense of like Gabby was like intending harm towards Brian, but it was kind of like Brian kind of pushed her a little bit to create space between them, and she was kind of just like, swinging.
You're trying to fight back.
Yeah. And so it was very interesting to hear the discussions between the police officers and the two individuals. And the two outcomes that I was talking about is that the police officer is like, well, you can like press charges against her, but she'll go to jail. And mind you, Gabby at that time, like, she's 22. She's probably 100 and like 35 pounds. She's not like a girl that probably could do well in prison. I know that's interesting to say, but like, and I think Brian was aware of that. And so he's like, no, I don't want that. And even then, it was just kind of a misunderstanding between us. So that doesn't happen. Like we said before, they took the night off from each other, stayed in separate places. They had a mental health break. What's very interesting about kind of the details around her disappearance to me, and this probably like made like a light bulb go off in your head, Kylie, is like there were texts that were coming into Gabby's mom's phone from what was supposed to be Gabby, but her mom instantly, which is so funny because like I feel like if it was my mom, she would know instantly, like, that's not how I text, like if I were to go missing, that's not how I text, and this happens in multiple like domestic dispute cases. There's a lot of cases that Crime Junkie has reported on where the two people, like the wife goes missing or the girlfriend goes missing, and the husband or the boyfriend uses the phone to kind of lead on. And I guess it's just like a result of them feeling guilty maybe, and they just kind of lead the person on to give them more time to figure out like, what am I gonna do, like most people who feel guilty and who have done like wrong things, they're trying to like, okay, how do I get out of this without going to jail, but honestly in the end most people do go to jail. So my piece of advice is like, if something does happen, just be honest about it. Be honest with police officers. Just admit to your mistakes, and so that was very interesting. It was reported on August 27th of 2021. An odd text comes in. According to the search warrant on August 27th, Petito's mom said she received an odd text from Gabby's phone. It read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls. And it gives us a little bit of background saying that Stan is Gabby's grandfather, but her mother says Gabby never referred to him by his first name, which makes so much sense. Like, I don't call my grandpa by his name. I just say, like, he's my grandpa, like, that, I think that's just such a mom, like, reaction of, like, that's not my daughter,
Yeah.
and Gabby's mother said that it was out of character and it was very concerning. So that was the first of many texts that we see in this case. The second text that comes in is on August 30th of 2021. Petito's mom says she received a text from Gabby's phone, and then she wouldn't comment, like, you don't just say that. You say, like, hey, I'm going to be off the radar. Like, I'm camping. Like, her parents knew she was camping with Brian. But, like, it would be like, I don't, just from the perspective, like, I'm a 19-year-old girl. And my parents are huge on, like, okay, like, we kind of want to know where you are, just kind of like the surroundings of where you are, like, always text us or call us if anything seems out of the ordinary, and most parents are like that. They're not going to be like, oh, my kid's going to go off for 3 months and I'm not going to hear from them. And I would hope not, So I think we're both seeing here that, like, it's just so odd that these texts are very short, very simple, very out of the ordinary, not using verbiage that Gabby would use. But pick up from here, Kylie, talk to us about, like, the hitchhiking incident with Brian.
Yeah, so like you said earlier, like it really is such a coincidence they said that. Like I know with my parents, if I was out with a boyfriend or something, and they, I'm gone for like 4 months at a time, updating them. My parents are very, like your parents as well. My parents are always like, okay, where are you going? How long are you going for? Like, just tell us where you're going so we know. And so, like once I like my parents know what text I don't send and do send. So they know, like, okay, this is what Kylie will send. If it's not something like that, that's not her. Like, we just know. And so in terms of the hitchhiking incident, on September 1st, 2021, Brian returns home, which is just insane to me. And according to the police, Laundrie returned to North Port, Florida, where he lived with Gabby, but he was alone, which was such a red flag because I'm like, why would Brian come home from a 4 month trip without his fiance? Like, that is a big red flag that something would happen to Gabby, and he doesn't want to admit it. And
Yeah.
so on September 21st, 2021, she was reported missing. Gabby's mother files a missing persons report with the Suffolk County, New York Police Department after not hearing her from since late August, which last text was on August 30th, 2021. So about maybe a week or two after that message she reported. But and also September 30th, a lot of people are like, okay, where is he? Like, where did he go? And Laundrie's parents tell police that he left the family's house for a hike in the Colorado County, Florida, and he wasn't seen again.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, what is going on here? Like, what is going on? What is he hiding? What does Brian's parents know? Because Brian's parents know more than anyone else does. It's, of course, it's their son. They know, and then like they either kind of said what he said, but not officially. So it really was such a big turnout than a lot of people thought it was. But it really did tore families apart when, of course, when people were missing, and Brian Laundrie's family issues a statement for their lawyer saying they intend to remain in background while the search for Gabby's underway, in which Petito's family issues a statement accusing Laundrie of refusing to tell them where he last saw Gabby, which he never did. And I saw some videos I remember on TikTok during that time period of some people like throwing signs on their yard, like people flying over their house to see what they're doing. They're like digging holes in their garden. Like it was very suspicious during that time. You're like, okay, what is going on? What are they doing? Like, okay, what's up? And so like it was very suspicious, and he was really a person of interest during that time as he was with her. And on September 15th, Northport police said Laundrie's refusing to cooperate and named him as a person of interest in Petito's disappearance, which is someone that usually does. Like if you're a killer, you're most likely to refuse speaking about the subject, like until you really have to and the police drag you. So you kind of automatically know that it was him. It's of course who else would have done it? Like he was with her. Like he was refusing to talk about it. So you basically just know that this is incidents.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I like how you covered the Laundrie's family, like going back and forth with statements. And it's very interesting, again, like you said, Kylie, that they reported that their son went on a hike. So they obviously knew kind of the whereabouts of their son, kind of what he was doing, if he even spent time with his family and talked to them about like anything that happened on that trip that would be considered like evidence towards the case of her missing. So I just think that's very interesting. Even before he comes home, I know that he hitchhiked with a couple that was actually recorded on TikTok. Love TikTok. It's the database of everything and anything.
Yeah, TikTok is really like my Fox News of entertainment and all that sort of thing. But there really is different sorts of videos that report people hitchhiking, that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
there's tons of stories. And later on September 16th, Northport police held a press conference where Gabby's father asked everyone to help find the daughter, and 2 days later they were searched for Brian because he was reported missing. And basically the search for Laundrie begins in a 24,000 acre Carlton Reserve, which he was last officially, saw, where he was last reported, where his parents say there was where he was heading the last time they saw him. And of course, he's probably there because, of course, that's the last place he said he was going. So that's probably the best place to, look for him. But of course, about 2 days later, September 19th, remains were found. I'm like, okay, here it is. Who is it? And so authorities say they found remains in the Grand National Park in Wyoming, where the van was previously spotted. And I remember when that body was found, I'm like, okay, that's where the van was. That has to be Gabby. Like, who else is it gonna be? Of course, like, it has to be Gabby. Like, who else would it be? And then on February 20th, the FBI executed a search warrant on Laundrie's home and seizing his car and a hard drive that might contain evidence that a felony has been committed, in which the next day, September 21st, a coroner confirms that the remains found in Wyoming is Gabby Petito and determined the inner manner of death is homicide. The FBI announced they're taking over the criminal investigation, and authorities continue to search for Laundrie in the Carlton Reserve. And I'm like, bro, what is happening? Like, what? Like, this is insane. Of course, on September 23rd, 2021, a federal court in Wyoming issues an arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie. He's charged with the unauthorized use of a debit card to make unauthorized withdrawals worth more than $1,000 during the time Petito went missing. And I'm like, think of myself on the top of my mind, like, okay, he's probably using that money to go and hide somewhere. We don't know where he went hiding. We don't know. But that's something you will do if you were running away from something and that you're hiding something, for sure.
Yeah. The unauthorized withdrawals is like the key term. Like, if someone is doing something wrong, is hiding from the law, and you withdraw a lot of money, especially as much as like $1,000, yeah, that's pretty suspicious. But again, like Kylie said, she was identified, her remains on September 21st, 2021, and then a vigil was held for Gabby. A candlelit vigil was held in her hometown of Blue Point, New York. Sorry. On September 24th, and then the following day, the Gabby Petito Foundation was established. I think it was her parents. Let me look real quick. Yes, Petito's father announced the creation of the Gabby Petito Foundation, and the post he posted was, "No one should have to find their child on their own. We are creating this foundation to give resources and guidance on bringing their children home. We are looking to help people in similar situations as Gabby." And then they have a website at gabbypetitofoundation.org. So anyone who needs that assistance, needs that help, I would highly suggest either reaching out to your local police department to find help there, or even contact the foundation there.
Definitely. And the next, about a day later, on September 26th, over 1,000 people attended a public memorial service for Petito at a Long Island, New York funeral home. The service was streamed online, so a lot of people saw it publicly. And then 2 days later, on September 28th, Petito's family and their attorney thanked law enforcement on Tuesday, urges Laundrie to turn himself into the authorities, in which he ended up committing suicide on basically a couple days later, but his remains were found at Carlton Reserve on October 20th, and the FBI says that the FBI confirms that the authorities have found what appears to be human remains at the site where they were searching for Brian Laundrie. Special Agent Michael Mafferdian also says authorities found personal items nearby, including a backpack and notebook that I believe belonged to Laundrie, and the suspect's human remains were found in an area previously underwater, the FBI said. Authorities are investigating whether the remains belong to Brian Laundrie, and a day later, Brian Laundrie's remains were identified, and a notebook, he ended up writing a suicide note saying that he committing Gabby and that he couldn't live without her and that sort of thing, that he just couldn't live without her even though he killed her, which doesn't make sense to me for some reason.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think the guilt definitely like caught up to him. It's so sad that both of them, the ending of it was that they both passed away from different causes, from him strangling his soon-to-be fiance and wife. And then he decided that it wasn't worth living and worth getting justice not only for his girlfriend, but for her family. And I think the biggest and the last thing that the case involves is that on November 17th of 2022, Gabby Petito's family was awarded $3 million in wrongful death lawsuits. So a lawyer for the Petito's parents said whatever money is received will go to the foundation dedicated to locating missing people and curbing domestic violence.
Which is honestly a perfect way to do it with investigations for Gabby Foundation, just because it can prevent other people to really that are suffering through the same thing in a toxic relationship. It really is such an amazing foundation for that's helping many people in terms of Gabby's memory.
Exactly, yeah. Well, thank you everyone for listening today. Kylie and I are so excited to continue to record episodes on things that matter to you. We will probably post on Spotify a questionnaire just for you to fill out to see what was most interesting to you in this episode. So thank you for listening.
Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.